infiltration, subversion, wealth extraction, moral degeneration, and finally, overthrow. Today, many people are waking up to the insidious effect that a particular tribe of people have had on Western nations, and none more so than the United States. And how they have successfully insinuated their way into power, not through violent revolution, but through systematic moral degradation. But people also falsely believe this to be a phenomenon of the State of Israel, which came about in 1948. But if this were true, then all the criticisms of this group's behaviors should have started at that time. But they don't. They go back deep into history. The ancient world's equivalent of the modern US was the Roman Empire, and few people realize that the Romans had extensive problems with Jewish infiltration of their own institutions over 2,000 years ago. For example, the first century Roman geographer Strabo wrote, "These Jews have penetrated into every city, and it would be difficult to find a single place in the inhabited world that has not received this race and where it has not become master." A famous Roman historian Tacitus said, "The practices of the Jews are malevolent and despicable, having entrenched themselves by their very degeneracy. Deviants of the most depraved kind who had no use for the religion of their predecessors, they took to collecting dues and contributions in order to swell the Jewish treasury. And other reasons for their increasing wealth may be found in their unrelenting loyalty and nepotism toward fellow Jews." Even before the Judeo-Roman Wars and the birth of Christ, Rome was already struggling with powerful Jewish influence. For example, the notable Roman statesman Cicero said this at a famous trial, "Softly, softly, I want none but the judges to hear me. These Judeans have already gotten me into a fine mess, as they have many other gentlemen. I have no desire to furnish further grist for their mills." This was said at the trial of Flaccus, a Roman official who had banned gold shipments to merchants in Jerusalem and was then attacked for persecution of Jews. A year later, as recorded by famous Roman historian Gratz, Cicero found his retribution in banishment, and his villas were razed to the ground. Cicero later wrote, "These Jews belong to a dark and repulsive force. One knows how numerous this force is, how they stick together, and what power they exercise through their unions. They are a nation of deceivers." The recent release of a new trove of Epstein files shows us just how extreme this moral degradation among our leadership has actually become, and who is pulling the strings of this brazen corruption. We now know that we can't trust any American institution to be free of what Cicero called this dark and repulsive force. Not our government, not our media, not our education system. So we have to create our own, and me and my allies are doing just that. Creating a community of men who demand better, so we are becoming better. If you want to be a part of this, comment exit below, and I'll tell you what comes next.